All right, let's talk about something that I'm sure every crypto holder has thought about. You need some cash, but the last thing you want to do is sell your assets, right? Especially in a market like this. Well, today we're going to look at a project called DigiDollar that's tackling that exact problem head-on with a pretty unique approach.
So just picture it. You're holding onto your Digibyte, your DGB, and you're thinking, this is my long-term play. This is going somewhere. But then life happens. You need money for a house or a car or maybe a new business venture. If you sell, you get hit with a tax bill, and even worse, you miss out on all that potential future growth. It's a classic crypto catch-22, and it's the very problem DigiDollar was built to solve.
So you basically have two paths you can go down. The old way, the traditional route, is you sell your crypto. You get your cash, sure, but you also get a lovely bill from the tax man, and you're officially on the sidelines, watching the price from afar. But then there's the DigiDollar method. This lets you borrow against your holdings. In a lot of places, that's not a taxable event. So you get the liquidity you need, and you get to keep your DGB for the ride up. It's a huge difference. Okay, so to really wrap your head around how this works, the team came up with a really simple but really powerful analogy. Let's just forget about all the crypto jargon for a second and think about something more physical, something like silver bars locked in a safe. Here's the play-by-play. First, you take your DGB, your silver, and you lock it up for a specific amount of time. And the key is it's locked right inside your own wallet. Then the system lets you mint new DigiDollars. Think of this as taking out a loan against the silver in your safe. When the lockup period is over, you simply pay back the loan by burning those DigiDollars, and you get your original DGB back. And, this is the best part, you keep 100% of any price gains your DGB made while it was locked away. Now this right here is probably the most important thing to understand. I really want this to sink in. Unlike so many other platforms where you have to send your crypto to their address, with DigiDollar, your collateral never leaves your wallet. It is always under your control with your private keys. It's completely non-custodial from start to finish. That's a real game changer. Okay, so if it doesn't work like normal DeFi lending, what exactly is it? Well, DigiDollar is really positioning itself as something entirely new, a different category of stablecoin that's built on a foundation that's totally different from what we're all used to. And this is where we get into the cool, nerdy stuff. DigiDollar is built natively right on top of the Digibyte blockchain. Now, for you tech folks, you'll know that Digibyte is a UTXO chain, which is similar to Bitcoin's architecture. What this means in plain English is that it doesn't need these incredibly complex, layered smart contracts that can, let's be honest, sometimes be a security risk. Instead, it uses the core, battle-hardened features of Digibyte itself, combined with simple time locks to keep the whole system secure. Let's put this up against the big guys. With stablecoins like Tether or USDC, you're essentially trusting a company. You're trusting that they have real US dollars sitting in a bank account somewhere backing up every token they issue. It's a centralized system based on trust. DigiDollar flips that model completely on its head. It is decentralized. The backing isn't in a bank. It's right there, locked on the Digibyte blockchain, fully transparent and verifiable by anyone at any time. And of course, I know what you're thinking. Anytime we talk about a new stablecoin, the ghost of Terra/Luna enters the room. It's a fair question to ask, but the mechanics here are worlds apart. DigiDollar is backed by an excess of a hard asset, DGB, not some self-referencing algorithm. And the real secret sauce is the time lock mechanism. That feature makes the kind of bank-run death spiral that took down Terra literally impossible.
Now, that might lead you to another question. If you can't be liquidated and you can't redeem your collateral instantly, how in the world does the system protect itself when the market goes absolutely crazy? Well, this is where the design gets really, really clever.
This is the headline feature. This is the big one. No, forced liquidations. In almost every other DeFi protocol, if the value of your collateral drops too low, the system automatically sells it off to cover your debt, often at a terrible price. DigiDollar is designed from the ground up to prevent that from ever happening. Your position stays yours for the entire lockup period, no matter how wild the market swings get.
So how can they possibly make a promise like no forced liquidations without risking a total system meltdown? The answer isn't just one thing. It's a defense-in-depth strategy. We're talking about 4 different layers of safety, all working together to make the whole protocol incredibly resilient. So, layer 1, you have to start with a very high level of collateral. We're talking way more than what you're borrowing. Layer 2, the system is smart and can actually adjust those requirements on the fly if it senses market-wide stress. Layer 3, there are special emergency protocols for redemptions in case of a true black swan event.
And layer 4 is a bit more about economics. The very act of locking up a scarce asset creates natural price support.
Let's look at what this means in the real world because the numbers make it super clear. So if you only want to lock up your DGB for 30 days, you need to post 500% collateral. Now, that means the price of Digibyte would have to crash by a whopping 80% before your position is even close to being underwater. On the other hand, if you're in it for the long haul and lock up for 10 years, that requirement drops to a much more efficient 200%, which still gives you a massive 50% price drop cushion. The system rewards long-term conviction.
And that brings us right back to that final layer of protection, good old-fashioned scarcity. There will only ever be 21 billion Digibyte in existence. That's it. That's less than 2 DGB for every man, woman, and child on Earth. So think about it. As more people use the system to mint DigiDollars, more of that scarce supply gets taken off the open market and locked away. That naturally reduces the amount available for sale, which helps support the price of DGB itself, making the whole system even more stable.
So this all sounds really promising in theory, but what's the real-world status? Is this just a cool idea on a white paper, or is this a project with actual code behind it? Let's take a quick look at where things stand today.
Well, according to the project's own progress tracker, the core implementation is already 95% complete. So no, this is not just a concept. This is a very real, fully fledged system with thousands and thousands of lines of code that's been in development for years.
And that maturity really shows when you dig into the stats. We're talking about more than 1,850 automated tests that are all passing. The crucial Oracle system, which feeds price data into the protocol, is already in its second phase, using a robust 5 of 9 consensus. And maybe most importantly, it's already live and active on the Digibyte testnet. You can go and try it out for yourself right now. The roadmap to launch from here is laid out pretty clearly. It's on the testnet as we speak. The team is targeting May 1st, 2026 for the mainnet release. From that point, it'll be up to the Digibyte miners to start signaling their support, which is basically how they vote to adopt the upgrade. And there's a generous 2-year window for the network to reach consensus, which ensures the whole rollout is careful and deliberate.
And so that really brings us to the final big picture question. We've seen stablecoins that are backed by cash in a bank, and we've seen stablecoins backed by complex algorithms. DigiDollar is proposing a third way, a stablecoin that's backed by a scarce digital asset and secured not by the threat of liquidation, but by the simple commitment of time. So could this be a more durable, more resilient model for the future of stable value? I guess that's the question I'll leave you with.